Hey, what's going on? Oh my goodness, why? Sorry, that is. I just had a wait. What is this? Oh, yeah, it's just like yeah. Let's just leave how the thing goes. I'm like, what? Why is it that noticeable? But yeah. Anyway, hello. What's going on? It is February 29th, Thursday, February 29th at 11:54 p.m. I just wanted to come up on here after the train stops. Appreciate it. I just wanted to come up on here and just kind of touch base with you guys because yesterday I talked to you or discussed with you about what examples of niggers are. And I feel like, for the last, just squeeze this in for Thursday, the last day, the last official day of Black History Month, which is, pretty cool. I like I like the weird, unique moments. So something like February 29th is very cool because it only happens I think like every 4 years. It's a leap year. So anyway, yeah. So I said I was gonna give you guys a discussion about like what coon is because we were going into the topic about what niggers are. Just briefly. We weren't going into in-depth detail about it, but I, gave you an example of what it was and I had mentioned it a few times, the term, and people were really offended about it. And the people who were truly offended about it were the people who were actually, well, niggers. They were the ones that were going about a horrible way, in a completely horrible way, in order to abuse me, and decided to reenact a lot of abusive mistreatments from the early 1800s and preceding that, and thought it was funny. They thought it was really funny in order to to harm me and inflict pain and just implement the same kind of punishments, or then these are unjust punishments. So the same kind of torture and abusive tactics and harassments, to me singularly, before the world. So I'm not saying that I'm the only person that these people tried it with, because I don't know exactly what they do personally when it comes to like who they have in their hindsight, like who they have on their list. But I do know that I have been the person who they wanted to have put put up online. So, and for people to tell me that, it's just really extremely disheartening. So with this one, I wanted to go ahead and play you this video about Malcolm X, and you will just see a visual, you know, about really.
What's the first thing you do in the morning? And I can tell you what not to.
Okay, so
Mr. Muhammad teaches us that man is judged by his conscious behavior, and the conscious behavior collectively of the white race.
this right here is a reporter interviewing or asking questions to Malcolm X. Now, I don't always agree with every single person because I don't think that, there's always room for error and there's always growth, because at a point in time people will always try to counter Malcolm X's quotes with something in reference to about him having like a very strict, I wouldn't say entirely, initially it was strict because he had believed in he had he had his teachings within the Muslim community, and there's actual, um, pardon me, and there's actual teachings within the Muslim community that I actually agree with. It's just, I myself am not Muslim, but there was a really like it had no room for error. It had no open-mindedness. It was just, it is a particular, it is a particular teaching. It's a particular, doctrination. I do as with all religions, they have, there's moments about it that are very debatable, that are questionable, and that things that I definitely don't, agree with. But there's there's not one single, I've mentioned this before, there's not one single religion that I completely agree with. I've mentioned highly multiple times that, as long as you do no harm, but do no initial harm, but take no shit, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So just listen to this. This is the thing I want to play with you, play for you guys.
Toward non-white people has been the type of behavior that is practiced only by a devil or devils. So that in essence you feel that white men per se are devils. He teaches us that God told him that the white race is a race of devils. Teaching this kind of a doctrine of hate, a doctrine of separationism is bound to inflame the passions of people, wouldn't you imagine? The deeds that the white man has committed against black people is what is inflaming black people. There's no teaching inflames anyone. It's what you do to a man that inflames him. And if the white man wants black people to love him, then he should do something to warrant that love. The entire Negro population, the group feels the way you do about it. I think they're probably more than willing to take their share of the world that's available to them and enjoy themselves in it. I love confidence. If he doesn't think that very many Negroes think like I do, then he is being mighty naive. Do you think that Negroes are going to continue to live in a society where dogs can be sicked on them at will and not do something about it? You're out of your mind. Is there anyone here that would like to comment after having heard what Mr. X said? No, I didn't. How about you, sir? Would you like to comment? I don't agree with him because I'm not a follower of Muhammad myself. I think that all people have been mistreated in some form or another. But I don't agree with him. I don't follow Muhammad. I don't think anyone should follow one man. I think they should follow their own conscience. I think the main problem of most Negroes is that they feel sorry for themselves. And I think that this keeps them back much more than they would be if they didn't feel so sorry for themselves. If Martin Luther King, Roy Wilkins, or any of these compromising Negroes who say exactly what the white man wants to hear is interviewed anywhere in the country, you don't get anybody to offset what they say. But whenever a black man stands up and says something that white people don't like, then the first thing that white man does is run around to try and find somebody to say something to offset what has just been said. This is natural, but it is done.
Okay, so oops, I have to put that out. Okay, so basically, all right, so basically what that was is a reporter was on the street and he was interviewing, or like he was, he was taking the opinions of Malcolm X, and Malcolm X shared his opinion about racial injustice. Then the reporter decided, I guess he was dissatisfied with that answer, so he decided to ask other people that was in the crowd, and they gave their opinions, but their opinions naturally disagreed or challenged Malcolm X's response, or not response, but actually a response to the reporter. So this is the thing. Okay, so this is the thing. This was during a time when people were still being lynched. This was a time during this was the time during Emmett Till. This was the time during assassinations just for being black. This is the time when you were hosed. This is the time when you were being, this is the time when black people were being hit with batons and police sticks and things of that nature, being pressure pursued. And this is the time of You are not allowed to go through the front. This is the time where you could be refused just because of the color of your skin. This was a time of just extreme inequities that was normalized and seemed okay. And it's insane that this is less than 100 years ago. This is less than 100 years ago that this was going on. And it's even more insane that a lot of these black people were just so self-serving. No, I'm not talking about the black people from back then. I'm talking about the black people now that are just so self-serving that you can't even wait 100 fucking years in order for you to go ahead and want to try to do in order to try to help inherent racists relive this situation. And I say this because you guys wanted to segregate. I witnessed you guys in the midst of me being isolated or ostracized. I witnessed you all really pander to the white people, pander to people who were just, not black, or people who were, I guess, black but not black. Like people who are obviously black, but who have a social status that just doesn't really define them as black. But however, like, they are in certain kind of, situations, like, yes, they will be told like, oh yeah, you're a nigger. You feel me? Like it's so wild on how people have prejudice. I mean, we have prejudices within every, well, no, well, damn shit. Nearly every fucking race. Actually, I think every race we have our own prejudices. Because within whites, you have prejudices against Jews. You have prejudices against people from, like, trailer parks. You have prejudices against people with red hair. You have prejudices within the Hispanic community with dark skin. You have prejudices within Asian community if they are, too brown, or or if they happen to have just, a little bit of shade melanin to them. It's and they don't even have to be, they don't even have to be black or mixed with black. Like, I'm just saying, like, if they have a tan, for some, that's, taboo. There's prejudices in different races, and it's just like it's just really fucked up on how I have been the totem. I've been treated like the totem, where a lot of people who are racist and a lot of people who have the misdirected hatred wanted to go ahead and try to fuck with me because they themselves, first, they hate themselves. Second, because if they really actually love themselves, and they would be comfortable to live amongst me without trying to project all their fucking hate. So I was getting hate. I was getting hate from racists. I was getting hate from people who felt like, they were, I guess, like, better than me, people who, because like they were lighter. I got hate for people who were being the targets within their own community because they either didn't want to be picked on, or they just, they wanted to go ahead and misdirect that hatred towards me. There is something insanely wrong. It was really fucked up and bad that you guys decided to go ahead and put cameras in my home and wanted to harass me and bully me and try to mock me and do a lot of things with the help of bad cops and bad people within the people who were willing to be bought out, and people who were doing some really bad stuff within the city of Trenton. And then it happened to just, go all out to, like, be more mainstream. And I just want to say all this because I know that already people have been saying, like, oh, I don't know what she's talking about. Duh, these are the people who are literally have helped. These are other people who have already invested their time harassing and abusing me. These are the people who are also the people who supposedly say that they love me or they are inspired by me, but they don't want to see me, have my justice. That's another type of coon. There are people who are afraid of being, reprimanded and getting the due justice, the due punishments for the offenses that they've done. There are people who are afraid of having to sit down and deal with their own inner demons. There are people who are afraid of not having someone that they can look down on, or having someone to, not being dependent on themselves. These are people who are deeply insecure, people who, will lie and say that, oh, like, we love you, but they will keep their mouth quiet when it comes to my injustice. And they really just want to see me stuck and down while they either excel or while they feel better about themselves, at any time, for, I don't know, any minor inconvenience. Like, it is insane. It is insane what I've been subjected to. And the fact that people are just saying that, yeah, we know, but we just don't care, or that they are, continuing to do the petty things in order to abuse me is wild and wicked. And I do not stand for it. I do not stand for it. I do not respect it. I detest so many people with the very fiber of my entire soul, my entire being. I really do. And there have been such horrible people who are of all races have been saying that I forgive, and I don't. I already told you that. I already told you that I don't, and I won't. I will never. So to even iterate that is just like you have put yourself on the list of people who I definitely want to see um, punished accordingly. Like, yo, you just it's insane and it's wild. In this video with pardon me, in this video with Malcolm X and the other guy that was talking, that was contesting, or like, I guess, like, objecting to what Malcolm X was saying, that is defined as the coon. Now, he's not a coon for disagreeing with Malcolm about um, wanting to wanting to live life by his own drum, kind of wanting to be the person who decides to live by a certain kind of doctrine, live by some kind of way of life, based on what suits him best. That's what the other guy was saying. He was just like, okay, well, I feel like every man should be able to lead life by their own conscience. Now, that part I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with that part. The part that was the part where he definitely, like, dropped the ball, was that he was just stating, the problem is with Negroes is that they feel sorry for themselves, and that, you know, if they stop feeling sorry for themselves, then things would get better for them. Now, this just sounds like a very comfortable person who is comparing the life that they have now to the lives that their grandmothers and that their great grandmothers had endured, and that's within slavery. When you do that, you do become very, I guess, like, comfortable. It's like, say for instance you are in a domestic violence um relationship, and the last relationship the guy would beat you a lot of times, and in this new relationship, this new guy, he just puts you down, or he or she just puts you down verbally, like, real bad, to make you feel like really insecure. Neither of those are good, Cookie. Neither of those are good. But because you compare it to the last relationship, you're just like, it's not that bad. I'll just stick with it. No, 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 no. And the same thing, I mean, that was just like a loose explanation. All right, well, we can say this about, like, okay, so one job. You can go say that you went from one job, and one job, like, you had to work. You have a 40-hour work week, but you had to do, basically, you picked up the slack for your coworkers because they were always out. And so you were basically working double shifts and things of that nature, and it was for bad, it was like extremely bad pay. And in this new job, you have your boss who's trying to make moves on you and things of that nature, and you're just like, no, don't touch me, don't talk to me, none of that shit. Um, and they're giving, like, they're trying to harass you and stuff like that. And yeah, and they can play. Pardon me. Though they'll probably give you an incentive, but it's just like, if you laugh at their fucking jokes. that are absolutely not funny. And you're like, ah, like this is in comparison, this is not as bad as the other job, but okay. Like, no, 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 no. That is also bad. So with this guy, he's saying it like, is lynching really bad? Because like you would get far worse, back in the day comparatively. Like just look at all the things that we have. If you look at the bright side, I can't. If you look at the bright side of racial profiling, being called a nigger at any point in sundown towns, at any point in time, you being dismissed or discarded because of the color of your skin, not being served at a restaurant, being served at a restaurant, but you have to go through the back way, two separate. Are there like wait, hold on. Are there like four bathrooms then? Because I'm thinking like, when it says like for whites, for blacks. So was that gender neutral back then? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure I doubt it. So you're talking about like four fucking bathrooms. The fuck? That is insane. That is fucking insane. Oh my gosh. That is so wild. But this, coon, he's just like, okay. And the white guy, he was just saying, like, there's so many opportunities for you, silently not saying, as compared to back in the day. But, not all black people were slaves. There were free men back in the day. But apparently, for someone like him, he's just like, you're one nigger, two nigger, three nigger, four niggers. I see nothing different. So it's just like, okay, it was really hard. I guess it's really hard to to distinguish now exactly, okay, who is more rich, or like a landowner and things of that nature. It used to be easier to determine exactly, like, who's of wealth and who isn't, um during slavery. It kind of, I wouldn't say that it kind of is now. I mean, unless because people put on a front. There go my abusers. Initially, but they do some really duplicitous bullshit stuff. But it's just like people back in the day, like they would do things. They would probably, it was more easier to distinguish and determine exactly where people's wealth status lied, based on their clothing, based on obviously their property, and based on how many slaves, or their possessions, basically their property and their possessions. Fast forward to obviously the after the abolition of slavery, people were able to bring themselves up to a certain kind of stature, and they were able to independently, basically the line blurred. In fact, not even blurred, it vanished. People got to dress up in certain type of ways. People got to dress very dapper. We It was like we were abandoning. The scar left on us about slavery was still very fresh, but it was scabbing, and it was just like we were trying to advance. Now for some people it was advancing to the point where it was just like, slavery was just, I guess, like, so obviously it was very horrific, but it was just like so traumatizing and things of that nature that they didn't want to look back at anything in reference in regards to slavery, because they didn't want to tie themselves to any of that, even though that they still had relatives still fucking alive, able to regale the stories of it. Not, I mean, not regale, but like reflect on like the stories, the horror stories and whatnot like that about it. And there are people, coons, I call them coons, they just didn't want no parts of it. So they wanted to separate themselves by, dressing better. They wanted to, do whatever they can for, a better education. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's actually um, what people needed to do in order to excel, in order to be better and things of that nature. My point here is just that the coon here he was just like, "Hey, look, man, we're nowhere near doing what, our ancestors did. We're not wearing tattered clothing. We're not walking barefoot. We're not out in like these little sheds. We're not out here picking cotton. So if you just look on the brighter side, man, and don't worry about they having, dogs sick on you and things of that nature, then, you know, you'll be fine." That's basically what he's saying. So, oh my God. Mm. Don't treat our children like prisoners. We protest school segregation. I showed you the video before about the black. I mean, not the video, but the pictures of the black young woman. She was like 15 years old. The one that was going to school. It was like the Little Rock Nine, where 9 students decided to go ahead and volunteer to break the whole they wanted to go ahead and go into a school that was predominantly white and advance their education, just have like a normal education because the school where they were, it lacked so much. And for a while, I think that even like, yeah, like even in the 90s and early 2000s, like, yeah, like a lot of schools, a lot of black schools in inner city urban, and a lot of inner city urban schools, there was a lack of education compared to white schools and like suburban schools. So something like this is very like important when it came to look. Oh my goodness, so many right here. This right here. This it says for white colored men and for white colored men, and this right here is for colored. This right here is young boys. This young child lost his fucking eye. This one got hit, and this one got hit too. These guys have gotten hit with those little batons by police. They didn't do anything. Literally, they just walked down the fucking street. And it's just like, a cop has a bad day. They have misdirected anger, misdirected hate, and they decided to take it out on black kids, on black people. They do not care if you're a woman. They do not care if you're a child. Obviously, remember Emmett Till? It was just like, you're not safe. You're not safe if you are younger than a teen. You're not safe if you are an elderly person. You are not fucking safe. You can be the finest, purest Christian on the fucking face of this earth, but as long as you have brown skin, you are considered inferior, lower than a dog, and can be whipped, punished, punished just for existing, and beaten to a pulp. And yet this coon was just like, if you keep your head up and just see things from a higher perspective and stop feeling sorry for yourself, then maybe, just maybe, you'll live a better life. Now, these instances weren't just some random shit. You feel me? Like, This stuff was every day. This stuff was 24/7, or whenever you literally lived out of, walked outside of your house. That hatred was waiting for you outside of your fucking house for no reason, for no reason, no justified reason. I want to play that again.
Do you think that Negroes are going to continue to live in a society where dogs can be sicked on them at will and not do something about it? You're out of your mind. Is there anyone here that would like to comment after having heard what Mr. X said? No, I didn't. How about you, sir? Would you like to comment? I don't agree with him because I'm not a follower of Muhammad myself. I think that all people have been mistreated in some form or another. But I don't agree with him. I don't follow Muhammad. I don't think anyone should follow one man. I think they should follow their own conscience. I think the main problem of most Negroes is that they feel sorry for themselves. And I think that this keeps them back much more than they would be if they didn't feel sorry for themselves. If Martin Luther King, Roy Wilkins, or any of these compromising Negroes who say exactly what the I don't agree with him because I'm not a follower of Muhammad myself. I think that all people have been mistreated in some form or another. But I don't agree with him. I don't follow Muhammad. I don't think anyone should follow one man. I think they should follow their own conscience. I think the main problem.
He's like, everybody has had a bad day, and that's the thing. Like, Malcolm wasn't saying nobody's ever been hurt before. Nobody's ever been, hated against or abused before. He was making it known that we deserve to live, and it's insane that we have to prove it to you or explain to you why that is. We deserve the same rights as you do. We deserve the same rights. We deserve equal rights, and we just deserve the right to live. There should be no reason why at any free given time, without reason, without just cause, that you are able to stick a dog on us just for existing, for walking down the street, or for anything like that. And this guy right here, stupid motherfucker coon, he just, oh God, this is so stupid. He just got that fucking stupid face. It was just like, uh, or just like, oh, everybody's, everybody's been hurt, everybody's been abused, we've all had problems. I can't. It's just, it really is cringy and annoying because there are Black people who just really did not evolve. There are Black people nowadays who literally talk like this coon right here, where it's just like in my situation in which I was abused and I've been abused and I'm continuing to be abused. It's just like, oh, well, everybody has, has had a sad story. Everybody has had, has been hurt, this, there, and the third. And it's just like, I didn't say it wasn't, bitch, you stupid bitch. I was saying that this right here has been a targeted situation that is extremely criminal, corrupt, and unjust, by your hands, no doubt, and also by your participation. Uh, you decided, for whatever reason, for personal issues that are not legal, to go about very nefarious, corrupt, backstabbing, and wicked, evil ways in order to go ahead and try to pretend like, you're some type of dictator, or that I should try to be like, afraid or timid of you. But then you had to go ahead and collect a whole bunch of people behind my fucking back in order to feel like, you moxie or you big and bad. Fuck up out of here. So you guys were trying to make it seem like, oh, this is supposed to be some type of collective moment in which I'm supposed to feel small, But here you guys are really acting like a school of fish, where instead of, you thinking that you were going to try to intimidate me, here you are doing like, some stupid shit behind my back. You feel me? If you were actually really about it, then you would have been about it. My thing here is just that it's really like on how George Floyd during Black Lives Matter protests, on how people were saying things of like, it's really insulting on how Black people were trying to, not even trying to, how they said it's Black Lives Matter. And then there were white people and, coons who were saying all lives matter. And it was just like Black people were saying, yeah, all lives matter. Hence why our lives matter. Like, it's just like, it's one of those tactics. It's really one of those tactics. It's just like you you had the audacity to open up your mouth to say some stupid shit like that. It's just like, but basically, yes, it is gaslighting. And it was just like you just don't you really don't comprehend the situation. Like, you do it intentionally. You really do that shit intentionally. It's fucked up. And like, it's very transparent. But I'm still glad that, Black people had, acknowledged it for what it is, because, one, we're not going to ignore you if we are actually opening, or inviting you in order to protest with us. But at the same time, do not think that you can try to dismiss our arguments or our words or anything like that by throwing out some weak ass shit. Like, how dare you? Like, how fucking dare you? So yeah, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that little moment. Sorry, I have fluffies in my eye. Ah, god damn it, Leela. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that moment because, like, bro, there really are Black people that said that shit with their chest, telling some, oh, like, everybody has had a hard time, or when they dismiss or minimize my situation and compare it to theirs. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. This right here is a very unique situation that was that's very unnatural, very uncommon. Or else you guys would have had a lot more people in the roster to talk about on a rotation. But what's happening to me is something that does not need to be minimized or dismissed or discarded, deflected, or any of that shit. What I'm going through is abuse, like, plain and simple. And justice definitely immediately needs to be served. It's overdue. And I'm very tired of it. I don't like it when people are telling me that, they care about me, but they want to still see me stuck in a situation, or they want to try to victim blame me. That is totally uncalled for. And that's doing nothing but making it seem, hmm, it tends to be people who are convinced that they are secure in this cultural dynamic. Hmm. Mm. I would say yes, within reason. That is just probably only one group of it, or like one aspect of it. But there are also people who are just, I think they're not really secure, because I think a lot of people were kind of witnessing also that if they were secure, then they wouldn't try to be going this far in order to try to, like, undermine me, or not undermine me, but trying to like silence me and things of that nature, because they really show their hands. If they were actually secure in their position, then they wouldn't do so much in order to try to, silence me, or to lie about me, lie on me, and, to still try to steal from me and my talents, my property, and things of that nature. Like, yeah, if they were really secure in what and where they are and who they are, even as white people. Because, like, all right, say for instance, like this. Say that you're a white person, a white blonde woman, and you feel like, okay, well, hey, look, um, I can get things easy. And for the most part, yes, they can do. That's traditionally how it's been done in history. But there has been things that have been happening within society that shows otherwise. It's like, okay, you guys were, I'm not saying like you, viewer, but the white people and the audience, the abusers and things of that nature, they were just, hee ha haing and all that other kind of shit when it comes to my hold on, meaning yes, they are essentially feeling inferior, but they allow themselves to believe that as long as they hurt their own, there will be tokens that they'll receive. Yes, that is true. But what I want to say before I forget is just like there are people, so say for instance, like a white person, like I said, you can be like a white woman that's blonde. Those are the ones that definitely and in the media and whatnot like that call themselves, those are the ones that are those are the ones whose attention to being a victim is most allocated to when it comes to like, police, the police attention, the FBI's attention mostly goes to a white woman or a white male. I mean, typically. So white women in particular, when they're just like, oh, I've been abused, or like if they're in a position where they feel like they are safe and comfortable and secure, there has been lately the thing like Roe versus Wade. If you are, oh, you were attracted to it, okay. If you happen to be somebody who feels secure, based off on your race or whatever like that, that's probably been like a little bit shooketh lately, especially considering that there have been laws happening, like Roe versus the overturn of Roe versus Wade, where it doesn't matter if you are a white woman. There was that white woman that was, pregnant, and she had a risky birth, and I believe that she needed to have an abortion. So she was about to be convicted. They was about to lock her up, and she was down to the wire, and she was just like, "Frick it! Like I'm not gonna leave my life or my baby's life in y'all fucking hands. I'm about to go across the across the state and go handle it myself." And she did, so that way she wouldn't get locked up. And it's like, yeah, it's just when people are over here thinking that, oh, like, you're watching me, but you don't think that, oh, this can happen to you. No, it can happen to you in some form of another. While you guys were laughing at my pain and people over here trying to control and do their damnedest in order to manipulate, medically gaslight me and try to harm me. Certain kind of laws are being implemented that were happening to you or to other people, things of that nature. So it's just like it's fucked, man. It's really fucked. It's crazy on how it all comes around. But yeah, I really wanted to put it out there with my example for coons because that's just one example where people are really extremely insensitive to other people's plights. And it's really like he looks like more of a coon because it's just like, nigga, like, yo, we in the same boat, but here you are literally trying to be toxic positivity and just like not seeing the reality of the situation, where at any point in time you can be offed just for the frick of it. Duke, like a police officer or any kind of white person, could literally just like have a bad day. He could have missed his breakfast, missed a bus, and it's just like, and just punch a black person just because if they wanted to. There's so many like stories and things of that nature. It's just, man. But I just wanted to use that as an example because, well, I wanted to use this real life moment as an example to one of the things that I have to, go through that I didn't ask for. And this is just, the seriousness of the situation, especially since I'm getting a lot of this pushback from Black people, the same Black people who have been abusing me, the same Black people who initiated this abuse. So it just, when you guys decided to reenact or enact the same kind of historic abuse from our ancestors and relatives and things of that nature, you really do embody nigger. And nigger means stupid person. So it's just like, aha. It's like, why would you want to do that? I mean, like is making you guys look bad. Um, but then maybe you want to do that. Maybe you will be the kind of person to shake and jive and tap dance for other races. But it's really not a good look. It's not a good look all around. And that's all I'm gonna say. All right, I'm gonna go because I actually have an email to put out. Pardon me, and I have some other things to do. I saw this picture of my book bag. So kind of old, but yeah, that's me. Look at me, little dress, all nice and precious, and my little earrings and stuff like that. Yeah, I was decked out. I was really decked out. I used to have like a little cute little bracelet. I had a ring. Like, yo, so I grew up around money, and it's really weird on how there's so many things that are just really fucked up on the fact that I am being targeted by that there's so many stories and lies that have been going on about me, especially the part about, me being homeless. I've never been home. I'm still in this fucking house, okay? And I used my money in order to save this fucking house. Like when I got it, when I was in my young 20s, and people were relying on me. And I grew up around money because my uncle, was a very ambitious person, and so was my grandmother. And like, I appreciated that kind of stuff. Like, I still keep my head up afloat, even though people have been trying to financially abuse me. This is just this is really sick, and I demand justice. And it seems like it's just definitely something I'm continuing to strive for because I won't accept anything less. This is my life, and I refuse. I absolutely refuse to subject myself to some punk ass people that are really feeling like big, bad, and tough online and behind in the shadows and stuff like that. It's like get the fuck up out of here. Ugh, people be so passive aggressive too, and I swear it just seems. Oh my goodness. If I can tell you about my day the other day when somebody was really thinking that I guess they thought I was going to buckle up and cry or plead or something like that. I'm just like, no, please, no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Oh God, man. Ay, ay, ay. I have more to say, obviously. I really do. But it's officially March 1st. Just because Black History Month is over, it doesn't mean I'm not going to keep talking about the injustices that's going on against me. And it doesn't mean that, I'm going to cease talking about Black History Matters because, I am a black person. It's just that, to say the words, considering that my own people decided to literally do what they did to me, and still do to me is insane. So yeah. All right, I'm going. All right, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.